This is VOA News. Via remote, I'm Marissa Melton. U.S. President Donald Trump is holding a virtual town hall meeting this hour on the Fox News network. He is seated with two Fox News hosts at the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C., taking questions via video chat from American citizens around the country. The subject is reopening the economy. Asked what the people who are concerned about continuing danger from the virus and those who are angry about being ordered to stay home, the president said, "I think we can satisfy both." He said those who are worried about catching the virus or those who are at risk might want to, in his words, stay back, while other people want to get back to work, he acknowledged. Questioned about remdesivir, a drug experts have said shows promise against the virus. The president said, "I think we'll have a vaccine by the end of the year." He also said he will urge schools to reopen in September. He said the only problem he sees is teachers who are older than 65 or diabetic. Older people and those with pre-existing health conditions are considered to be at greater risk of contracting the virus. Once again, the president made those comments just a few moments ago in a town hall meeting on the Fox News channel. White House Coronavirus Task Force Coordinator Deborah Birx said Sunday she's concerned that vast numbers of Americans are failing to heed warnings to keep a safe distance from other people to prevent the spread of the pandemic. At least half of the country's 50 state governors have started to open public spaces, such as parks, golf courses, and some ocean beaches, while allowing shopkeepers and beauty salons to reopen their businesses. But no U.S. states have met the original White House directive that they see a continuous 2-week decline in the number of coronavirus cases before allowing businesses to open their doors again or people to gather in public places. Birx told Fox News Sunday the best advice she has is for Americans to continue washing hands and sheltering in place. This is VOA News. Michigan's governor says gun-carrying protesters who demonstrated inside her state's capital depicted some of the worst racism and awful parts of U.S. history. Those are quotes from her. Democrat Gretchen Whitmer told CNN that the protests featured Confederate flags and nooses as well as swastikas. Members of the Michigan Liberty Militia protested the state's stay-at-home orders this week, with some with weapons and tactical gear, with their faces partially covered. They went inside the state capitol, where being armed is allowed. Michigan's Republican-controlled legislature has questioned Whitmer's authority to extend stay-at-home orders amid the coronavirus pandemic. But the governor used an executive order to extend a state of emergency declaration and has directed most businesses statewide to remain closed. Worldwide, more than 244,000 people have died from COVID-19, and infections are nearing 3.5 million. Parts of the world are starting to emerge from the pandemic and cautiously resume some sort of normal life. Still, top World Health Organization experts warn that COVID-19 will continue to pose significant risks until vaccines are developed. Today, Spaniards reveled in a second day of freedom, heading outside in time slots for age groups as one of the world's strictest coronavirus lockdowns began to loosen. Russia recorded its highest daily rise in confirmed coronavirus cases, with 10,633 new cases. That brings Russia's total to nearly 135,000. More than half of the cases and deaths are in Moscow. Swiss drug maker Roche Holding received emergency use approval from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration for an antibody test to help determine if people have ever been infected with coronavirus. And India's Air Force flew aircraft low over more than a dozen cities as part of a nationwide campaign by the armed forces to thank healthcare workers and other essential service personnel fighting the outbreak. Two of Bollywood's biggest directors have teamed up with charity Give India to present a virtual fundraising event today, much like an event coordinated by Lady Gaga earlier this month. Indian directors Karaj Johar and Zoya Akhtar hosted a live stream that included dozens of actors and musicians to raise money for India's fight against the COVID-19 pandemic. World-renowned actors such as Shah Rukh Khan and musicians including A.R. Rahman performed and gave speeches in the Facebook Live event, which was dubbed I for India. It was streamed by thousands of people around the world. Via remote, I'm Marissa Melton. You're listening to VOA News.